Welcome back. We move on to this discussion now. Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa says verification processes are underway to determine the cost of the damage from the recent floods. Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal, as well as the Western Cape, were battered by heavy downpours in the past month, leaving thousands homeless. Hlabisa says 1.2 billion rand in grants will be allocated to provinces affected by natural disasters in January. The minister joins us now for more. Minister, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think there's a lot to clarify here because a lot of the attention as of recently would have been on the disaster that we see claiming over 100 lives in the Eastern Cape, damage in the Western Cape, damage in KwaZulu-Natal. Perhaps some clarity as to this 1.25 billion rand in disaster relief grants, what it's targeting, the events that it wants to, I suppose, offer relief from, and what it is that you want to see it achieve, Minister. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Naledi and the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. Naledi and the viewers, this is how it happens. When there is a disaster, the municipalities and the provinces collect the data and submit to the national level in the National Disaster Management Center. And the Management Center begins a process of verification. So now, the disaster that we are responding to today for 1.2 billion is the disaster that happened in January. If I can take you a step back, in March, we released 2.3 billion. We were responding to disaster that happened in 2024. Now, on the 5th of August, because we are trying to shorten the period, that it shouldn't take 6 months before we respond, on the 5th of August, I will be releasing the money that will be intervening to June disaster. It will be after 2 months, and we want to cut down as we go further, that probably in a month's time, the information must be collated, it must be verified, and once we have confirmed that the information given correspond with our verification, and then we begin the process of releasing funds so that people can rebuild and life goes back to normality. The amount that we release today is going to bring a great change, especially over 500 million went to Eastern Cape. Most of the municipalities that were affected in June will be covered because some of the projects were partially affected in January, only to find completely affected now. And the estimate that were given in January, should there be a shortfall, our team that is assessing on the ground, when we make the announcements on the 5th of August, will be confirming the information that we have covered today, and that will be outstanding after the money that we released today.
Yeah. Okay. So I suppose really wanting to kill two birds with one stone, if you will, there, right? Wanting to address disasters from January and hopefully getting some coverage as well for what we've seen in June, but that allocation coming in August. Makes perfect sense, Minister, but here comes the real challenge, and it is something that you've raised yourself, is that when you're talking about these monies, and it's certainly 1.2 billion rand sounding like quite a bit of money, there is the process of the disbursement of these grants, and perhaps you can talk to us about the route that they will take and concerns that you've raised, how you want them to be fixed, of what you've called a significant lack of monitoring and contract management by implementing agents inside of our municipalities.
The money that we allocate to a municipality in terms of the law we cannot impose ourselves. The municipalities have to execute projects, manage projects according to design. What becomes a problem, many municipalities, they change along the way. They change the design, they do not implement what was approved for. Say, for instance, they are given 6 million, they will execute 3 million in the project. Definitely there will be poor quality, not a complete project as it was approved, and they divert the money and use it for other businesses. Either they pay salaries or they run daily operations. Now, we are going to activate our team under MISA, which is an agent for Cooperative, to do the monitoring, to visit projects unannounced, because there is a team of engineers, a team of finance personnel, technical people in that department to ensure that the money that was allocated for a project is spent on the project, and they will have to review the reports, whether they talk to what is on the ground. If it doesn't talk to what is on the ground, we will not allocate the allocation that is coming in August. But we do not want to disadvantage the communities. If we realize there is a problem, we will have to go a road of appointing a separate implementing agent to execute a complete project for the benefit of our people. And this will apply, Naledi, to municipalities. Last year, 1.27 billion was dispensed to municipalities. Some of them have not responded in terms of full accountability up to now. In March 31, we released 2.3 billion. Some of this money is sitting in the accounts of municipalities. They say they are still busy with projects. Come the 5th of August, if they don't account how far have they gone in implementing the projects they applied for, we will not release the bigger portion, because the damage so far sits at 6.3 billion. Of course, it might go down, taking into account the 1.2 billion released today, but between 4 and 5 billion rand will be released in August, but we will only release to a municipality that has given a full account of the money received last year and January this year.
Yeah, and just on this issue, Minister, and I think this is important, because what we're talking about, and you also were talking about setting up, MISA, for instance, to keep a close eye on how these grants are disbursed and spent, so certainly at the bottom of the line. But there's been a question around whether or not our municipalities are prepared for pending disasters. The work that's being done there to capacitate municipalities to prepare for disaster, what does that conversation look like?
Yeah, well, Naledi, in terms of preparation, really, most of our municipalities are prepared, because in most municipalities, they do have municipal disaster management center, like provincial disaster management center, and they follow the weather alert in terms of disseminating information. On that score, really, I cannot speak bad of our municipalities. The only area when money has been given to them, probably a municipality would say, I have run out of money to pay salaries. I rather take the money for disaster, because people can survive in using the bad road instead of people who cannot survive and come to work if they are not paid, which then we do not support at all. Municipalities should spend according to their budget. The money for disaster must fix roads, must fix bridges, must fix the infrastructure because it is meant for that. This money is meant to upgrade the quality of life of our people, especially in the municipalities that are in deep rural areas. So in terms of being vigilant on weather alerts, they are doing very well on that aspect because they disseminate information and they even try to encourage people on floodplains to leave the areas when an alert has been indicated. Unfortunately, people refuse to leave because they say if we go to the community hall, people will come and steal our properties, our goods. Then we rather stay here and see what happens. Unfortunately, sometimes it does not end well.
Yeah. Minister, I'm just worried about certainly this one particular municipality that we've been, covering quite extensively. And just as we move away from the conversation of these grants, your understanding of what is happening in the Nkomazi local municipality in Mpumalanga. We did see COSATU entering the fray there, as well as the South African Municipal Workers Union and the Independent Municipal and Allied Trade Union marching to the municipality. This is over what they say has been a lack of timeous informing of municipal workers that they simply are not going to get paid, massive allegations of corruption in the municipality. Just the report back that you're getting on what is a sensitive municipality, that it's civil society having organized itself so well as to raise the challenges around service delivery that it is facing.
The MEC in the province is intervening and is giving us the update because in terms of the law, Naledi, we cannot impose ourselves. We do monitor the intervention given by the province, and if we are satisfied that the province is doing enough, we wait and give every necessary support to the province until the problem is escalated if it goes beyond the province. But a question of salary, Naledi, there are many municipalities that fail to pay salaries at the end of the month. And that goes directly to the inability of the administration and the political leadership to spend according to the budget.
Okay.
That is why, Naledi, this year, just to say this point,
sure,
we are going to stop any municipality to adopt the unfunded budget, because that is where a problem begins. A municipality adopts a budget for the money they don't have, they spend the money they don't have, they eventually fail to pay the employees. We are going to be hard on anyone. Do not adopt a budget for the money you have, spend what you have so that you do not run into a problem that you run out of money.
I hope that being an exemplary message for other municipalities, certainly leaders that are watching this discussion. Minister, an absolute pleasure for giving us your time. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister there, Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa.